I must learn to put a nice background on or at least just upload a nice background.
Okay, we've got about
15.
12 people who have joined us so far, Sharon. Let's give people a few more minutes to come on in, and then we can get going.
Sure.
Okay. The influx has slowed down, so let's get going. Hi, everybody. As you know, it's our normal conversations event. Today, our speaker is Sharon, who's doing an annual wrap-up on what's happened this past year. Please, it's our normal conversations rule, so we would like you to engage with the speaker, raise questions, make comments, but please put them into the chat box, and then I will draw them to the attention of Sharon as she goes through, because I will moderate. So please, as I said, do engage with us. Otherwise, it can become a very dry session. And Sharon welcomes your questions and your comments. So your microphones will be closed, your cameras will be off. You will need to engage only through the chat box. Great. Sharon, then I think enough of an intro. Over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Andy. Morning, everybody. So our last session of the year, I cannot believe that this year has actually gone so fast. I think after the first 2 years, it has been our COVID year, then quite a hectic second post-COVID year, and then a Zoom of a year this year. So let's start off with our annual wrap-up. So the first thing that I'd like to go into is today marks the 20th anniversary of the ASDSA, and I would like to pay a special tribute to a very special lady, Ms. Jill Connellan. She was the original founding member of the ASDSA, and she very graciously handed over the reins to me a couple of years ago in 2018 when she passed on, and she had been mentoring me in taking over as the chairperson of the Association for Skills Development. And Andy went, when we were at our strategy session in November now, he went through and found that on this day, 20 years ago, was when the first minutes were actually typed up, and the association's official opening was the 2nd of December. So we will keep in mind that this is actually our anniversary date of the ASDSA, and going forward, we will celebrate this as our anniversary date for the ASDSA. So today we are actually officially 20 years old. So just remembering what a great lady Jill was, and paying homage to her and the great work that she does. And just to let you know that we often go back to the foundational documents that she put in place, and we refer back to those on a regular basis, and draw inspiration from what she created. And Andy is also a founding member. So, you know, the work that she's done is still in circulation today, 20 years later. All right, so let's move on to the board and strategy session that we had on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of November. So we met face-to-face in Cape Town. And this is a strategy session that we do every 5 years, where we look at a long-term plan for the ASDSA. We look at, you know, what we stand for, who we represent, what does the skills development landscape look like now, because it changes so rapidly. And what do we do well? What do we need to improve on? So we do a SWOT analysis. We look at programs that we put in proposals for, and we've done several proposals, and in actual fact, not several proposals, probably around about 20 proposals, maybe more than that. Andy, I'm not too sure if you can allude to this, if you know the rough amount of proposals that we've done over the last couple of years.
Sharon, you're in the right ballpark.
About 20?
Yeah, Jonathan and I have been working primarily with the seaters, but not limited to the seaters, putting in recommendations for candidacy programs. And Sharon will tell you a bit later about the ones that we won with LG CETA, but there's been a lot of it.
Yeah, so recently we've already concluded a very big program for LGCTA a couple of years ago. We're now currently in 2 large LGCTA candidacy programs where we are upskilling the LGCTA SDPs, and I will explain that to you a little bit later. Skills development professionals. I'm going to explain that to you a little bit later. And then what we've done with this program is we feel we're in a position now that we have successfully piloted a candidacy program that is not like anybody else's. We've developed it, piloted it, tested it. It is a robust candidacy program, and we're really happy with how we've actually designed that program. So we are happy now that we can go to market and know that we can take a designee right through that program and make sure that they come out the other side and they are properly designated and have been tested, and we know that that person's credentials have been properly vetted, assessed, and tested. The other program that we've properly developed, tested, and piloted is our RPL program. The other thing that we did this year was that we have developed the board charter, and it's been ratified and put into place. The board has accepted it, and we are now in a situation where the board will rotate. They have a term of 3 years, then they get the opportunity to serve for another 3-year term. Then they have to step down for a period of a cool-off period for a year, and then they can come back to serve in a voluntary position for another 3-year term. So that is now in place, which gives us a good amount of intellectual property that will be rotating on our board to assist us to grow and develop as a professional body. Then when we did our SWOT analysis, we looked at our strengths and our opportunities, our weaknesses and our threats as well, which we didn't mention today, but we're going to go through the strengths and opportunities first. So one of the things that I think is very important is just on our board in EXCO, we have 200 years of collective experience. I think that is quite phenomenal. And Angelique brought that to our attention. She was just around the room as we were getting to know each other. We just had a look at the collective experience that we had. And it's collective experience across the industries. It's not just in skills development, it's in HR, in corporate, in various different areas. This huge amount of knowledge that we have on our board in EXCO, and all of our board in EXCO are extremely passionate about the landscape. So we feel we've got the right team in place now to really take and elevate the ASDSA to the next level. We've got broad exposure to various different stakeholders in the industry. I think we've harnessed our digital space very, very well, from our WhatsApp to our social media. We think we do need to take it to the next level now, looking at our marketing strategy and our brand awareness. I think that is where our threats were, where we need to actually build on that. Our ethical code of conduct, we keep a very high standard, but again, we need to take that to the next level. We need to look at expanding that and making sure that we are holding our members and ourselves to a very high standard. The opportunities that are coming up are huge, and it's not going to just be opportunities for ourselves to grow as an organization. It's going to be opportunities that are going to allow our members to grow as well. And this is where members need to also take cognizance of what's coming in the industry. We're going to be keeping you very informed. So we're going to be marketing to our corporates. We want to educate our corporates about what the value proposition is for a professionally designated skills development professional in the corporate space. I think if the corporates can understand that having a employed skills development professional in their businesses and they're professionally designated, they will understand that they've got knowledge, experience, credibility, and accountability in that person when they have an employed designated person. Because that's what a designation means. It means that person's got knowledge, experience, credibility, and accountability. They hold that ethical code of conduct very high. So that's something that we need to get that message across to the corporates. We're going to be engaging quite aggressively with our CETA Forum's CEOs, and we've already got a board member that has said that, put their hand up and said that they will be doing that. We're looking at upskilling, and we're looking at designating all of our SD and it's a spelling error, it's not SDFs anymore, it's SDPs, who submit our workplace skills plans. We feel, and we're all on the same page from a board and an exco perspective, that anybody that submits a workplace skills plan should be a professionally designated person, because what is coming out on our sector skills plan is not the correct information, which means what they are telling us are critical skills and hard to fill vacancies is skewed. So we need to work on that. And that's going to be a clear focus for us as well. We think that annual awards are something that we should be looking into. We don't recognize our professionals properly. So that is something that we should be recognizing as well. And I'm seeing lots of hearts come up on my screen. So I can't see your comments, but I can see hearts. So I think people are actually understanding that our strategy session was quite a powerful one, and you can see the passion that we had put into our strategy session. Everybody was on the same page. This is the part that is going to be the absolute important part for a lot of our skills development professionals that are not getting a lot of work at the moment, our SMMEs that are struggling at the moment. The professionalization of the public sector is a very big key role in what is going to happen in the landscape in the next couple of, probably the next year to 2 years to 5 years. Andy, would you like to just give us a little bit of a rundown?
Now, let me comment on that. Some of you may be aware that there is a drive in the public sector to accept a professionalization framework, and it seems pretty likely that this is going to happen. What it's going to do is encourage people in the public sector to have a professional designation. So that'd be a professional designation across the boards in all areas. Now that's going to have a very significant impact, because it means that we're going to wind up, what we will experience as skills development professionals in our clients, a growing demand for everybody in all areas of business to try and get a professional designation. It also means, of course, that there's going to be a lot more people who are maybe competing with us when you're wanting a new job or a promotion, who will have a professional designation. So I think that's one of the other impacts. One of the impacts it's going to have is internally, it's going to be a big pressure on us to have our own designation, just to keep pace with the competition out there. And then the related impact, I think it's likely to have a very big impact on the ASDSA itself internally, because it is likely that all of the skills development professionals in the public sector are going to be keen to become a member and to gain a designation. And there are thousands of people in that situation. Now, that's likely to change our profile as a professional body considerably. We're likely to become much larger and much more organized and much more structured. As medium, we're a small company, small organization at the moment. We're going to rapidly become, I think, a medium-sized organization. And I think it'll start happening in the course of 2023. I think by 2024, you will see an ASDSA that is in a very different situation. So that's me, Sharon. Just to let you know, we're now 12 minutes down.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So I think that there are going to be a lot of opportunities, and I'm saying to our members that are currently our members now, it's time to get your professional designations. It's time to take your profession seriously and start working towards that. Because when we are looking for capacitation, we'll be looking back to our members for that capacitation. So I will be going back to the members saying, all right, where are our technicians, where are our professionals, where are our masters? Those are the consultants and the people that we're going to be looking back to for mentorships, for coaching, for guidance, for, for assessments, for verifications and capacitation. So that's where we'll be looking to for our capacitation and growth. Then I came across I spoke a little bit earlier about skills development facilitators and skills development professionals. I think that there is a very big difference between a skills development facilitator and a skills development professional. And we had a bit of a debate about this at our strategy session. And I think that skills development facilitators need to stop thinking of themselves as on a lower level. I think we need to start taking ourselves very seriously as a professional. And I put this illustrated picture up, which I took from a publication that the German Development Services, the DED, South Africa and Lesotho, the author was Claudia Mumenthi. She did this publication in 2010. It's quite a nice publication to read. But if you have a look at this illustration, it's not to explain this illustration to you, it's to show you what you currently actually work with. Now, anybody that works with this landscape, if they don't call themselves a professional, then I'm sure that you're actually missing the boat here. A professional that has to understand the legislation linked to this landscape, that has to work within this landscape, that has to submit workplace skills plan in this landscape and unpack all of this, that the HR managers, that the CEOs, that the salespeople and the workforce at large don't actually understand, that has to also link BBEE, Employment Equity Act, and everything else that has to go with this landscape, don't take us seriously, need to sit up and realize how much work is actually involved in skills development. So I think from now on, we need to start taking ourselves seriously. We need to take our profession seriously. It is a professional profession. So I don't think we should term ourselves as skills development facilitators. It's skills development professionals. So we're going to move towards that platform and saying it's an SD professional. It's not an SDF. It's an SD professional. And that's how we'll be marketing it going forward. I will also share that link of that paper with everybody. I think it's quite good reading for everybody. Then just giving some feedback on our non-member and member survey. What came out of that was that a lot of our non-members said that they don't want to become members because we give a lot of our information away, so they don't think there's a necessity for us to for them to become members. So we give a lot of that information away for free. So thank you very much for that information. I think it's time that we become a closed membership so that we become exclusive. And those that are within our landscape do, again, take our profession very seriously, and we share information with us within that closed forum. So we'll be looking at that going forward. The members that are within our organization that pay their memberships will be privy to the information that we share with those members. The ones that want to be joining our membership will have to pay for that membership. So we're going to be going in that direction with the closed website and login for the website and lots of website updates for next year. And then people outside of the ASDSA, what we did find is that I started doing some inductions of our regional chairs that came on board and our board members that came on board. And what I understood from those inductions is that people didn't really understand what the ASDSA did. They had a sort of understanding, but not really understood how much work gets done in the background, what gets done by the ASDSA Exco, what the board members' roles were. So we will be telling you a lot more about what we're doing in the background. And we'll be letting everybody else out there know how much we're working for the learner on the ground, for the skills development professional, and how much work the skills development professional actually does. So no longer are we going to be keeping quiet. The voice is going to be loud. It's going to be clear. Okay. Our brand is going to be widely known.
Sharon, just a question, sorry,
yes.
comment, question from Margie. She said, SD professional sounds great. Will that not confuse SDP as being skills development providers?
That's why I don't say skills development. I don't say SDP. It was something that we debated at the board meeting, and you'll see I say skill SD professional, and I write the professional out. So it's not an acronym. It's actually SD professional. So it's a spoken. It's not going to be an acronym. Skills development professional, written, so that everybody is taking it seriously. Okay, we did think about that. All right, so standing in new committees, what we've realized is that we do have to have a marketing committee. If we want to be screaming from the rooftops and shouting out that what we are doing, how we are doing it, and where we are doing it, we need to have that marketing committee. So we will be putting in an expression of interest out for that. We have a technical committee, and how we've convened that technical committee prior is every time a position paper is put out, I send out to our designees a request, if you can please, assist us with putting that paper together. We need to have somebody running that. It cannot always be the chairman or the CEO putting that paper together, because it's just too much work. There's too much legislation that is thrown at us that we need to comment on. So I need a champion that will volunteer and put up their hands for that. So I'm putting that out to our members that are designated members or subject matter experts that know how to work with legislation and put papers together to put their hands up and say, I'm stepping forward for that position. I'm also currently, Angelique is running our regional committee chairperson, and I would like somebody to assist her with that, to oversee that landscape, because we need to also have subject matter experts assisting with that landscape, and I'll explain why. So the significant changes that I see for us happening in this landscape for next year, like I said, robust marketing and brand awareness campaigns. And I see us expanding our conversations and our regional meetings that we have into workshops and various capacity building interventions. So workshops on BEE and EEA related to workplace skills plans and annual training reports. And I will tell you that one of our board members is on the committee for the BEE Commission. And we have people now that are sitting in our space that are directly linked to the employment equity side. So that we have now got links to those various very important spaces that we work in. Workshops on CETA accreditations and engagement. Workshops on QCTO accreditations and engagements. These are the things that I think that we need to be helping our SMMEs with, our smaller SDFs. Workshops on starting out as a new SD professional. I see the notes on the WhatsApp group saying, how do I start out? I think we need to be helping those smaller skills development professionals just on the basics of how do you start, where do you go, giving them some tips and tricks on how to do that. We're also going to segmentize our skills development landscape. I think there is not a one size fits all for the skills development landscape. There are corporate SDFs, there are SMME SDFs, there are TVET SDFs, there are various different types of SDFs, there are consulting SDFs, some that work for corporate, some that are external SDFs. Each have different types of portfolios, and we need subject matter experts for each of those different types of portfolios. So that's what we are looking to do, is to segmentize the landscape, but also share your best practices. Career paths for SD professionals, where to begin, how to progress. Candidacy workshops for designations. So we're already doing that, but we want to share with you how to progress from one designation to the next. Mentorship programs for designation. So if you don't know how to even start, then we can look at finding somebody to mentor you and take you through the process. One of our board members has also recommended that we get a commission of oaths for designated members, either the master or the master and practitioner. And our board members put up her hand and said, I will research that and see if we can get that done for ASDSA. So as you can see, the passion and the commitment is definitely coming through from our top team. Andy?
Sharon, two things. One is we've got 8 minutes. Two is there's been quite a bit of conversation in the chat box about the abbreviation. SD professional sounds great, blah, blah, blah. Could be SDPR, but that is also what we use for the abbreviation for the skills development practitioner designation. So it's worth looking at.
Definitely worth looking at. Yeah. Yes, it's about starting that conversation. I like that. I like us starting that conversation and speaking about that and getting the word out there. It's all about conversations, networking, and all of that. And you can see on my second slide, another significant change is that we have split the roles of national chairperson. So I am now no longer the national chairperson. At the board and strategy meeting, the board took a decision to split that role. I had to do an exercise of what the differences in the roles were, and the board took a decision to split the role. I'm now the CEO of the ASDSA, and the chairperson of the board, which will be senior to me, is being, as we speak, currently sought through the Directors Association, and we will get a senior person put into that place that will report back to the board, that will give us guidance on how we're going to be expanding the ASDSA, just to give us that next level up and to help us to grow and develop ourselves as the professional body for the skills development landscape. So that has already happened at our strategy session. So the segmentization of the landscape, if you can have a look at what I was talking about there, corporate SD professionals, SMME SD professionals, consulting SD professionals, and the list goes as we go down. And that's the segments I was talking about. So, you know, not using that acronym SDF, but SD professionals, SD professionals, SD professionals, where we go. And you can see the acronyms before that. It's not just an acronym, it's an actual word, corporate SD professionals, and segmentizing. We haven't finalized everything yet, but this is the pathway that we're moving towards. Then workshop and capacity building. So not just our virtual forums and our conversations, we're already in discussions with the TVET colleges and the lecturers who have approached us through the International Youth Foundation that want to run CPD and CDP workshops. They've got 3 programs that they want us to run for next year, that they want us to award CPD points to, that are open to all of our members. And it's around trainer development, learner development, and project development. We're in the final stages now of the negotiations, and that will be open to all of our members. And it will, if run well, it will be approximately, for the lecturers, it will be about 50 CPD points, but for our members, we're not quite sure exactly how many CPD points it's going to be, but that program is coming up. And Andy, I think you wanted to add something else in here.
No.
Or was there? No, okay.
No.
So
just to tell you've got 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Sorry, guys, there was so much information we needed to share with you. So I have got very strict timelines. Then you'll see that Angelique has come up with a stunning new way to communicate with you. So I have to commend her on the way that she's put together communicating with you, all the dates on a monthly basis at the beginning of the month, all the things that we're going to be doing. We are closing on the 15th of December to the 10th of January, so we can take a little break and just have a little bit of downtime with our families, because we work really, really hard. So don't forget that we are closing shortly. And in closing, I'm looking forward to the year ahead, the possibilities, the plans, the great opportunities that are coming up, and creating this new skills development professional landscape that's coming up. And yesterday, when I was on the SACWA Professional Body Forum, Dr. Heidi Bolton said something that actually was quite profound. She said, professional bodies are the link between learning and work. And I think that that is actually 100% spot on. I think, you know, she said it perfectly yesterday. And when she said it, it was like that penny dropped for me. And that embodies exactly what we do. We are the link between learning and work. When those learners come out of school and when they want to get into the workplace, we're the professionalization that makes it actually happen. So I'm going to close off there and open up and see if we can take any questions. And Andy, how's my time?
Your time is good. There's still a few minutes available. There's in the chat room, there's a lot of happiness being expressed with the message, Sharon. I'm not seeing any questions.
Okay. I'm encouraging the members.
Are appreciating the comments, and I think they like the direction. Okay,
perfect. I think our strategy is it's good that we are changing our strategy. It's not the same thing that we're doing. We're not going the same old. We're completely changing it up for the next 5 years. We're thinking bigger, we're thinking brighter, we're thinking expansion. We are looking at really growing and developing the professional that's within our space now. So please make sure that you are in our space, because once we close off that website, if you're not in, you're not in. It's going to be a very exciting space for the next 5 years. And I hope you're on the journey with us.
Oh, then I think we are done. Angelique, if you can just post the link for CPD points.
Yep.
And there is still a minute or two if anybody has a final question or comment that they would like to make.
And I hope everybody did submit all their information for the survey for the workplace skills plans. I also just want to mention that on the SAQA Professional Body Forum, I'm not sure if everybody is aware, we have put a position paper together for the unit standards, the historical qualifications and unit standards that are expiring or being deregistered on the 30th of June 2023. And yesterday I mentioned it on the Professional Body Forum. And even though we had sent this paper through to the correct person at SAQA on the Professional Body Forum, it hadn't filtered to their senior people. So I mentioned it again, and I will be sending it again to full round robin at the SAQA guys today. So the voice is going to be heard very loudly and very clearly next year. I'm not going to be quiet. So yeah, I hope everybody has a fantastic festive season. Please rest. Take some time out for yourselves and your families. I think it has been a hectic year. I know some people are busy with, I think people are starting to do employment equity submissions for January already. So don't work too hard. Take some time for yourselves and your families. Rest and relaxation is important. We do have to take some breaks. But yeah, thank you very much for being loyal members of the ASDSA and staying within our family. I wish you guys the best for the holiday and festive season. Don't get caught up in that that crazy vibe and that last minute shopping. Do your shopping now if you can. I know it gets a little bit hectic, but yeah, thank you very much for all your support.
Thanks, Sharon. Then I think we are done, everyone. Have a good break, and we will see you in the new year. Bye-bye.
Thank you.